Previously on Texans Recovering Together.
As the executive director of the Bridges of Hope, I get the opportunity to work with volunteers that come with a passion to serve others. A passion whereas they get to teach or mentor or do Bible study, or they help in the office or whatever areas that we have open.
Well, okay, so pre-Harvey, like I said, we were active with Rita and Ike, and we repaired a little over 1,200 homes, with 100 of those homes being built from the ground up.
Oh, wow.
And we did go dormant in 2011. We had gotten all those repairs completed, and so, you know, our organization just kind of went dormant for a little bit. But then as soon as Harvey happened, our board and just immediately got back together, and we got everything going.
Partners Resource Network is the major nonprofit, the umbrella organization. You know, as everybody knows, Texas is a large state, and so what we have in Texas, every state and territory in the United States has at least one parent training and information center.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Region 5, Teresa Davis.
Good morning and welcome again to Texans Recovering Together. I'm your host, Teresa Davis. I want to just take a couple of minutes to remind all of our Facebook Live audience that Region 5's Crisis Counseling Program, it goes away on October the 31st, sadly. We have identified a lot of unmet needs in 6 of the counties that we serve under this federally funded grant, to include Hardin, Orange, Jefferson, Newton, Tyler, and Jasper County. However, today on this show, as we do each and every show, we have members from your community with the resources and tangible funds to assist you and help you to recover in response to Harvey Hurricane or in response to a natural disaster. So again, on this show today, I have the privilege of introducing those members. They'll come on and they'll talk to you about ways to recover, ways to be prepared, and how to get in contact with them long after October the 31st. Our social media team for Region 5 is standing by to take all of your questions, your concerns, and your posts. Make sure you talk to a neighbor, family, a friend, or colleague. Have them to tune in to today's Texans Recovering Together. We're here to make sure we can connect you to those resources. I want you to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together.
Welcome back to Texans Recovering Together. Again, my name is Teresa Davis with Region 5's Crisis Counseling Program. And today, my first guest I have here with me, Meredith Fletcher with Tool Bank. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, Meredith. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I couldn't wait to have this conversation with you and to let all of our Facebook Live audience know about Tool Bank. Tell us, please. What is it all about, Meredith?
Well, the Tool Bank exists to make it incredibly easy for disaster recovery organizations to equip their volunteers with all the tools they need. Okay. We loan out things like chainsaws, hammers, tables, chairs, even generators, and things like post drivers. Anything that's needed to make an event to support disaster relief or even rebuild homes, and muck and gut them as well. just as easy as possible for folks trying to put people back into their homes.
Oh, wow. So not only do you guys loan the tools, so you're saying for housing repairs, you have two specifically for the mucking and the gutting, and
We sure do. We have wheelbarrows, we have post hole
Wow.
diggers, we've got everything available to make sure that folks can get into their homes as easily as possible, and to make sure that 600 volunteers can be equipped to have everything they need. That way, no one's sharing a ladder between 20 people, no one's sharing one drill between 30, and all the other little logistics and nightmares that pop up during big repairs like this.
now as far as Tool Bank goes, when was it first established?
Well, the tool bank itself was established back in the early 90s in Atlanta. Our CEO at the time realized that he had so many tools in his garage that were just being used once and sitting there for months at a time after he had gone out to build playgrounds, clean up neighborhood parks, and anything else he was doing in the area. So he said to himself, it's time that something happens with these tools, and from that came the Atlanta Tool Bank. And from there on, several national branches appeared, such as the Houston location. And now we have our satellite location here in Port Arthur.
Yeah, that's what I want to get to. I know about the location in Houston, but you are a neophyte out here in Beaumont. So tell us a little bit more about your role with Tool Bank out here in Southeast Texas.
Well, my role is twofold. I am the person who's in charge of the tools, so you'll see me in my full tool bank gear out in the trailer working and making sure the power drills are working.
Oh, wow.
And also making sure that everything is in order for folks to borrow from our tool library, as I like to call it. And you'll also see me at different meetings, getting to know folks in the community and getting to learn more about the missions and the work going on. So I am basically here to meet people and to make sure they get the tools that they need.
Oh, that's awesome. And as you have probably already identified, there's a great need not only for tools, but for the manpower out here to help people rebuild their homes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In response to like an event, give us an idea of a most recent event, maybe let's say 2017, 2018, that you all at Tool Bank have participated in. What was that like?
The most recent event that our satellite location has participated in was actually a kaboom build for the city of Port Arthur.
Oh, wow.
They were rebuilding playgrounds, and a typical kaboom build will cost $10,000 worth of tools. For any school in the region, that's just not doable.
That's a lot, that's right.
But we can drop the cost to rebuild playgrounds after a disaster to absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Exactly. So folks were able to come to our trailer. They were able to borrow 30 rakes, 20 drills, 15 wheelbarrows, everything needed to mix concrete, to put up posts, and give the kids a place to play that wasn't unsafe after the storm.
Oh, that is amazing. So what does that process actually look like? If there's an organization that can benefit from Tool Bank disaster services, walk us through what that looked like and how would they go about obtaining, you know, the tools that they need.
Of course. Our process is pretty easy. It's basically like shopping on Amazon. Wow. You get in contact with me via my email address or my phone number.
Okay, which is going to be right up there on the screen.
Perfect. And I will take you through the process. I will just ask you to fill out a quick form that'll ask for your name, your organization, your 501c3 information, and every other fun item that goes with charities. And we serve churches, we serve civic associations, and of course traditional nonprofits. After that, I'll send you a login information with a username and a password, and you will be welcome to borrow from the tool bank.
Wow.
Yes, within 48 hours, I'll be sure to schedule an appointment with you to pick up and have all your tools ready, and we will have everything available for you.
Oh, wow. So once they go through the process and they complete the form and then they meet with you, where do they actually pick up would it be local that they're picking up the tools, or is it shipped to them like Amazon? Like, how does that work?
I wish that we had shipping capabilities.
Not yet, right?
Not
We're
yet.
hopeful. That's right.
But we actually have a very easy to access location at Mount Sinai Baptist Church in Port Arthur.
Oh, really?
So it's just a quick drive down, and you can come right to the trailer in the parking lot and pick up the tools.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Now, I have to ask you about post-Harvey. I know you've been involved with what's going on in Houston, but what has been your take on what you've witnessed out here in Southeast Texas in response to Harvey Hurricane?
What I have seen really has just been how incredible, I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I've really witnessed is just the community coming together from the grassroots just to rebuild. you will have folks get together with their churches, with their neighborhood association, with their neighbors, trying to go and rebuild homes and make sure that their friends and family and their neighbors are all placed exactly where they want to be, which is right back in the homes before the storms. It has just been incredible to see the amount of passion, the amount of power, and the amount of goodwill this community has generated in support of rebuilding Harvey. And it has been a pleasure just to stand by and say, how can I help you with tools?
That's awesome, because without the tools, a lot of the work can't be continued. So what you all do with Tool Bank Disaster Services is pretty amazing. That's why when I first came across, your services and we were introduced, I'm like, are you serious? You have tools? Do you know how many organizations can benefit from this? So it's awesome to know that the services are free. And then tell us again, tell our Facebook Live audience again, what the criteria is for obtaining your services.
So the main criteria is that you have to be associated with an organization or charity that is doing charitable work in the community. Unfortunately, we're not at a capacity to loan to individuals at the moment, but we can loan to churches, we can loan to neighborhood associations, we can loan to 501c3 organizations, just so long as they are doing something good in the community and they are focused on disaster relief.
Okay, awesome. And for those people that are listening right now, I'm sure if it's not them, they have a neighbor or someone in their community that they know that need these services. What would be the best way for them to contact you and get more information about Tool Bank Disaster Services?
The best way to do it would be to shoot me an email at meredith.fletcher@toolbank.org and just ask how to get it set up, how to get set up with a login and username information.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would want our audience to know? For instance, I know that a lot of our partners with Region 5's Crisis Counseling Program, because they are nonprofits and, it requires a community to make sure that they can, complete a mission that's bigger than just one person. That requires a lot of manpower. That requires volunteers. Do you all need any volunteers? And if you do, tell our audience, what you need and how they can help you to accomplish this mission.
We would love to have volunteers that are interested in working on small engines, or folks that are just interested in coming by the trailer and helping us keep track of all the tools. We're looking for people who like to count and also people who like to work with their hands and fix things.
Awesome. And again, Meredith's number is right there on the screen. Make sure you give her a call or shoot her an email to find out more information about the services that Tool Bank offers or how to get involved and support the mission that they're doing out here in Southeast Texas and in neighboring cities and counties. Again, Meredith, I want to thank you so much for joining me today on Texas Recovering Together. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Teresa. This is a pleasure.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned to Texans Recovering Together. I have here another special guest that I'd like to introduce to you all. We have Michelle Tubbleville with Orange County Rebuild. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to come and talk about what we're doing great for our county.
Absolutely. So with that being said, tell us about Orange County Disaster Rebuild. What is that all about and how did you get started?
So Orange County Disaster Rebuild actually created sometime after the storm, and one of the things that we were, I worked for the county, I worked for Orange County, and so we had FEMA come in and say, you know, to be able to get the funds that are needed for your county, we need, you need to create a long-term recovery group.
Okay.
And what that consists of is 5 committees combined into one.
Okay.
And so those committees, once you form them, it works together for the county to help bring in those funds.
Okay.
And a lot of the big organizations and plants, especially outside of Southeast Texas, they like to see these long-term recovery groups form because they work closely with disaster management. Actually goes in and case manages each individual family or individual that needs services, and that way we are vetting them to make sure to get down to exactly what their unmet need is. And so we are mirroring some great long-term recovery groups that we were privileged for them coming in and actually mentoring us, and it's one from Joplin, Missouri, after the Missouri tornadoes there.
Oh, wow.
And then actually the Bastrop fires back in 2015. And Christine Files was there in Bastrop, and she created the long-term recovery group then, and she came down and mentored us exactly how we need to do that to be able to help the needs of our
Kind of put it together,
put
the structure and
put the
everything.
structure together. And so we were very fortunate to have her and then Stephanie Brady's from Joplin. And so those 2 ladies were a big inspiration to us in Orange County. That's and awesome. Hardin County. For Hardin County Strong, they came in and actually helped us create this, our long-term recovery group.
That is awesome. I know that when we initially started our Region 5 crisis counseling program, you were all one of the first organizations that had your meetings, your town hall meetings, and you know, you had the gatherings at the emergency management office off of, is that
1442.
1442, and you brought together all of the people from the community, and we were able to talk, and you know, they got into the committees that they were interested in, and you all were bringing it together. You did such an awesome job as a host in bringing it together. I want to know more about your role, your specific role, and what you have done and what you're doing right now. What's going on with the long-term recovery group?
Well, sure. I mean, we have, I want to just give a shout out to our community. We have just all come together to create this long-term recovery group. Our county judge and our commissioners are backing us, plus our emergency management. So we're very fortunate in that. And so we were able to create our committees, which one of the committees is unmet needs. And so what we've done, we've already had several unmet needs meetings. And that consists of all the community resources come together at a table. And we have our disaster case managers that come in and actually present a case. And so we were fortunate enough that we have 3 or 4 case manager teams, which is we have Endeavors, St. Vincent de Paul, Catholic Charities, and Disaster Ministries, which is funded by UMCOR.
Oh, really?
And so they are all able to come in, and after they do a case management and they need funding, they come to our unmet need. And so, like I said, that committee consists of all of the people that are there are willing to help, you know, either with monetary, skilled labor, so those unmet needs will be able to be met. And so we've met those. So we have several things that we're doing so far through that unmet needs.
And that's just one committee we're talking about?
That's just one committee. So that's just one of 4 or 5. And so we have a fundraising committee that's actually, we're actually have a big fundraiser coming up in November.
Tell us about that. November the 13th?
November the 13th. It's Taste of the Holidays. And so we have all of our restaurants and caterers are coming together, and it's going to be held at the Orange County Convention and Expo Center. And so we're having it in our big ballroom where we had all those big meetings. And so we have up to 50, we can provide up to 50 restaurant or caterers come in, and they're going to provide 400 samples. So we're only selling 400 tickets. So if you want your tickets, make sure you go on our website and get our tickets. And so that way, that just the proceeds of those tickets will go towards the unmet needs to go to our committee, to our community.
Okay.
But our restaurants and our caterers can come in for free. So we're kind of doing a dual thing. After Harvey, you know, some of our restaurants and our caterers and businesses got flooded.
They did.
And so they're struggling a little bit. And so we want to give them opportunity to come out and showcase their specialty items and be able to get it out there so they can get some orders for the holidays coming up.
That sounds like an awesome opportunity. It's a way for the community to bridge some of those gaps and maybe even, you know, just give them, you know, the opportunity to participate in something because, you know, if they weren't impacted, someone they know or in close proximity sure was impacted. So it just gives them all opportunity to help, you know, in whatever role that they can, which is awesome.
Well, and it helps too that if people get out and see that, you know, not only is our individuals and families, but our small businesses are really hurting.
Yeah.
Some of our tax base for our county is also, you know, after the storm, people are not going to come back. And we hate that, but we want them to come back. And so this is why we formed our long-term recovery group. We want to get people back into their homes and we want them to stay there. But by helping our small businesses, it helps the tax base for our county. It helps people to get in our long-term recovery group. It helps people get back in their homes.
Get back in their home, and that really is the major objective for all of the, you know, families and individuals, those that can go back to home. I mean, everybody wants to go back to home. We know that, and so those that we can help, we certainly want to do what we can, and that's awesome that you all are taking on that role and that responsibility. Let's talk a little bit more about case management, because with our Region 5 Crisis Counseling Program, we go away October 31st. Our crisis counseling program will come to an end.
Which we're sad, by the way.
Yeah, we're sad too, but we've had, you know, the opportunity to really encounter some awesome families, individuals, and to establish amazing partnerships such as yourself and all of our guests that come on Texans Recovering Together. But again, we knew that we were short term when we started. You know, we knew that this wasn't going to be a long-term program. So the goal again is to make sure we can partner with people like yourself so that people can continue to recover and get the help that they need. And case management plays a very vital role in helping people find that new sense of normalcy. And so tell us a little bit more about that process and your involvement with case management, because it's a lot of the questions that we get in the crisis counseling program. We are actually making individuals and families aware that case management is here. Here's the number. We make the referrals, but we're still identifying a lot of unmet needs. So kind of help our audience to understand what that process or relationship is like with case management.
Sure. You know, case management plays a huge role in, especially on the unmet needs funding side of it. We are very fortunate to be able to have those 2 grants come down from the Texas, the HHSC, and then also the National VOAD. And so those are how we are getting funded. But those people actually go out, and our survivors can actually go and we are instructed for them to call 211, which is been around for a long time for resources. And so what they do, they call and they'll say, we need to a number for disaster case management. And so 211 has been provided those numbers for those case management groups that I spoke of earlier, Endeavor, St. Vincent de Paul, Catholic Charities, and Disaster Ministries. And so they actually have those phone numbers, and so they call and ask for that, and they will be directed or given those numbers, and those individuals and families can call and actually get a case manager assigned to them.
Okay. So as far as the program and services, well, before I get to that, I know that you have 5 different committees that make up, you know, for the long-term recovery group. Unmet Needs is one. There's a fundraiser committee. What are the other 3?
So we have a volunteer committee, which is very, very important, which we are trying to gather, especially our local volunteers that want to help serve on one of these committees, which is very vital, and also outside of our region here to bring in church groups. Different skilled labor construction groups that we are looking for to help rebuild homes. And so those are very scarce at the moment, only because of all the disasters that happened in our region in the United States. But we feel fortunate that we're staying positive that we know that those groups are going to reach out to us.
That's good.
Orange County Disaster Rebuild has a place, a housing place. So we encourage, if you are interested in coming to Orange County to do some rebuilds, we have a place for a housing, our volunteers, so if they want to come.
Wow.
Yes, and so like I said, we have a great community.
Sounds like it,
We all partner together. The Port of Orange has actually allowed us to use, which used to be called the Old Navy Base.
Okay.
So it's it's not an old building, they renovated it, but it's a building for us to be able to house our volunteers. And they were very quick of saying, yes, we will go into partner with the county to do that. So they have a place for our volunteers. So if you have a group or a volunteer group that wants to come, please contact us. We'll be glad to set you up and put you to work.
That sounds great. We want to make sure we put Michelle's number, her information, contact information up on the screen. And so I just want to make sure that our Facebook Live audience understands that if you know of someone or any organization, whether they're in Texas or outside of Texas, what you're saying is that if they have the skills and the ability, the time to come and help your long-term recovery group, there's a place where you can house them, where they can come and they will stay for that period of time while they're actually here volunteering. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
That's amazing. That's awesome to see the community
we
come
have
together.
Also a lot of churches that are willing to step up as well. So we have a lot of housing opportunities. Hopefully, at the beginning we did not, and so and I say a lot of churches. We have a couple of churches that are reopened that can do that.
Awesome.
Before the storm, we've had several that can, but they've gotten flooded. So we want to help them as well. So.
And that's awesome. That's amazing because, yeah, you're right. A lot of the churches, they couldn't open their doors anymore either. I mean, some of them, they can't go back to. The damage was extensive, and we've seen that throughout the 6 counties that we serve.
Especially the schools, you know, and speaking of that, our schools have been phenomenal as far as adjusting, and so we had 5 schools, and 4 of the schools had majorly damage.
Wow.
And so one of the schools in Orange County, which was Little Cypress, we had housing at North Orange Baptist Church for our Texas Baptist men, which are a great group. But they had to actually move out of that church because the North Orange Baptist Church gave their facilities to the Little Cypress Elementary to house for the school year last year. So that's why we had to get the other facility that the county agreed. So the Texas Baptist men could stay and help with Mutt and Gut.
Some of the houses and everything. Wow, that's awesome, Michelle. Again, I know you have the event, the fundraiser event, Taste of Holidays for November the 13th. Is there any other calendar of event that our community or Facebook Live audience can participate in or get involved in? Is there anything else that's coming up soon?
So we are actually partnering up with North Orange Baptist Church. They have a huge fall festival coming up October 31st.
Okay.
And so we have invited some of our groups to come out and set up a table or a booth or a trunk. It's called Trunk and Treat, and they can decorate. And some of our partners in Orange County that actually does give out resources for our county is coming to set up booths. So if you are an organization that provide resources for Orange, we invite them to call that number and let me know, and they can set up a booth to help there, because it's a huge fall. They have several hundred of families come through there. So we want to offer the kids some candy. We also want to have a place that parents can come and get information on resources there in the county as well.
That is awesome. That is truly amazing. Again, I had the pleasure and the privilege of meeting with you early on in 2018, and I've seen you do an amazing work of bringing these committees together and doing the presentations and just helping everyone in Orange County to understand what the needs are and how we can get involved. So we want to again put your number and your contact information up on the screen. Please make sure you get in contact with Michelle at Orange County Disaster Rebuild. Make sure you get in touch with them, find out about how to get involved, and find out how to benefit from the committees that they've put together through this long-term recovery group. It is very necessary and is very beneficial. So again, Michelle, I want to thank you so much for coming on Texans Recovering Together. Thank you for being here and sharing with us, and we wish you all the best. We know you do a great job continuing on long after October 31st. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining me, your host Teresa Davis, on Texans Recovering Together. Again, I have another very special guest from your community right here in the Jefferson County, Beaumont area. I have Mr. Emmanuel Preston with Spindletop.
Hello, how are you today?
I am very well. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
I am really happy that you were able to be available to come on, this show and talk to our Facebook Live audience and our community about what you all do. Our crisis counseling program at Region 5, which started at the beginning of this year, goes away October the 31st, but you all have been one of the main referrals that we've given out. And this is solely because this federally funded grant stems from the counseling emotional and mental support to survivors of Harvey Hurricane. So I know you have a lot to tell us and share with us about, what Spindletop has done and what you are doing post Harvey. So tell us a little bit more about your role with Spindletop first.
My role, I'm a supervisor, program director for recovery support services. That's for substance abuse, mental health. And what we do is we meet people wherever they are, emotionally, whether it's substance abuse, and we help them to develop a plan, a wellness plan to recover. And what we found because of Harvey, there's some people who were affected by the storm who already had issues, and then Harvey compounded some of the problems they were having. Like, for instance, if somebody had schizophrenia, now they have a major depression problem because here comes Harvey. They have to be displaced from a comfortable environment, and now they're having to go somewhere where they're not familiar with. And that's one of the things that we try to do to help people, is to just get them stabilized. And so when you have to uproot them from their natural environment to help them go somewhere where they can be safe, it just challenges them. And so what we've done is we've gone out to meet people wherever they were, if they were in a different community, to help them continue to maintain some sense of normalcy. And oftentimes, I'm talking about parents who have children who have issues also, because we have one department, we call it Daybreak. They have 1,100 kids who have mental health or substance abuse problems.
What are the age groups?
Age from 5 to 18. And we have another program that have recovery support services, YRC is what we call it, and that stands for Youth Recovery Community. And we have several different partners that we meet monthly, and we talk about the different issues that some of our kids have, and we go out to Minnie Rogers and help the kids over there who are in detention. We work on the adult side with Judge Holmes, helping him. But people just have some issues behind the storm that they are still, recovering from. I too was affected by the storm. And I remember going out in my community and doing a presentation to represent the veterans. I'm a veteran. So I went out in one of the Air Force. Okay. Is there another? No. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. But so I went out and I was talking about the psychological effects of post-Harvey. because we know we were here when Rita hit and when Katrina hit. And from those experiences, we've learned that the post-Harvey episode is more long-lasting. There's still people recovering, trying to recover from Katrina 12 years later. And so as we were talking with people about, doing things with the kids, because the parents are hustling and bustling, trying to get things together. And sometimes the kids are overlooked. But the key thing is to have games for them, have some fun stuff to help them connect to some sense of normalcy also. And so we went out to some schools and different communities doing things with kids, and we still do that. Most of the people have, since a year ago, have developed systems to where they are functioning.
So like a coping, would you say they've developed some sort of coping mechanism to help them to deal with the problem, but perhaps that's pseudo. It may not be really dealing with the problem at all, would you say?
Yeah, most definitely. They may just be covering up something that's really going on because they don't want people to see just how terrible it is sometimes. And so they mask it.
And that's a really good point that you bring up, because with our Region 5 Crisis Counseling Program, there are a lot of people that won't even admit that they need to speak with somebody or that they need the counseling services. So, counseling has this stigma attached to it, if you could agree with
You're absolutely right.
That people would say, no, not me, I don't need it. But when we go out and we assess what the needs are, that's one of the things that we identify. There's an emotional healing that needs to take place. They need to talk to someone. I mean, there was a real traumatic event and they need to go through that process. So have you all seen an increase in your needed services post-Harvey?
Yes, we have. One of the increased needs was from PTSD. I've talked to so many people who have mentioned, every time it rains, I think about what's going on, what happened with Harvey, and I'm thinking that it's going to flood again. And so now we have to just continue to coach them and help them understand it's just a rain, and we don't try to downplay it because we understand the emotions that they're dealing with. Absolutely. And sometimes we have to refer them to different departments that we have, because we have about 30 departments within Spindle Top. Okay. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll refer them to intake. Okay. And intake process is where they can go, bring their ID, social security card, a bill that has the address on it, and they can be assessed, and they can see a nurse, they can see a licensed professional counselor or a doctor, and some of them just have to be prescribed medicine, because some of the issues that they face are long lasting, and then they're reoccurring on top of that. Right. So they don't just go away by themselves. Right. And so they need counseling, need a therapist. So we work as a team, and as we collaborate with the team of therapists, licensed professional counselor, or even a chemical dependency counselor for substance abuse, we come together and we talk about some of the problems that we're seeing, so that we don't bump heads and do something, or do something that's not working. Gotcha. So as we're able to talk to one another, it helps us to develop a more holistic approach as to how it is that we're helping the people that we're servicing.
And that's awesome, because again, there's this stigma that's attached with counseling, and so you were mentioning earlier that a lot of the conditions were pre-existing before Harvey, and then now we've compounded it with Harvey. But then you have those groups of people that they've just now started to deal with the traumatic event, and so long after, we're talking a year past, and they still need to talk with someone. What I would like to know is if there's anything that a Spindle Top, even if it's a conversation that you all have started to kind of help get rid of that stigma. I know for us with the state, we've had conversations with state and federal about how do we sit down and get rid of this pre-notion that there's something wrong with getting counseling. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody when you need to. Does Spindle Top have anything like that?
We do. And what we've done, we have peer groups. And so now the therapeutic value of one person going through a traumatic event, sharing with another, is unparalleled to what a psychiatrist, a counselor, anybody can do. Because now you're hearing people talk with other people just like them, and to let them know that you are not alone. Right. And not only that, so one person may share how they have been able to cope with some issue that another is having. And so they learn from that, and they've been able to help one another get jobs and do a lot of different things. Yeah, because over at Spindletop we have supportive housing, we have supportive employment. So if a person qualifies for our services, they can reap those benefits.
Oh, wow. Now I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then we have different types of activities, sober activities for people and the children also. Okay. We introduce them to a lot of different things. It could be golf. We have some that we're bringing in through Toastmasters right now and teaching them how to speak in public. Awesome. And we do a lot of training for volunteers who want to come out and help us. We have what we call a recovery coach process, and it's a certification through the state of Texas that allows them to come in and learn how to work with people who have mental health and substance abuse issues, and how to connect with the resources that are available in our community and as far as Houston, because there's in the state of Texas there's 21 other organizations from the recovery support service perspective that are doing the same thing that we're doing. And so as we connect with those different partners, we're able to pull from their resources also.
And kind of instead of reinventing the wheel, you're able to find out what works and then use that as well throughout your...
Most definitely. So it's because all the people we talk to, is no one size fits all.
That's right.
So each individual that stand before us, we look at them and talk to them and find out what their needs are. And as we assess what their needs are, we develop a plan that's specific to what their needs are.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. One of the things I like to say that as far as us with Region 5's crisis counseling program, we would be considered a second responder. And so as a second responder, throughout the 6 counties that we've serviced under this grant, we've identified other organizations that, you know, we're serving, but many of us were impacted, such as yourself, as you just said. Let's talk a little bit, you and I, about that second responder unmet need, because I've always said it's very important for the people such as yourself and myself and all of our guests that are serving other people that we have emotional well-being and just total well-being. So is there anything in place that Spindletop, you know, if you give presentations, or just tell us your thoughts on that, because we all as servants need to make sure we're
there definitely is something. The field of substance abuse mental health is very stressful, and so there are counselors and certified recovery coaches, peer specialists that get burnout. And we have something called self-care. And self-care is a checklist where they can go through and check off how they're doing. And we talk about that. Like every Monday I have a meeting with my staff, and I check in with them just to see where they are, you know, because, you know, some of them experience death. They have different issues that happen in the family with the children, and it's hard to detach from that. You can't just leave that at home and come to work and just work 100% and focus on your job. So as we talk about what happened through the weekend, it gives me a barometer approach to look at, you know, what their needs are. And so as I talk with them individually, I have open door policy, and I can talk with them about what's going on with them. And so as I see the stress, we have something called alternative counseling, where even our staff can go in and get counseling when they need it.
All confidential.
All confidential, you know, and also the clientele who we work with, the participants, they can get that type counseling also. So it's very beneficial for us to always do a self-inventory, just to see where we are, because we're service providers, so we're constantly giving. And there's this old cliche that says you can't give what you don't have. So we got to just kind of check ourselves every now and then, find out where we are, and get the resources we need for ourselves also.
Absolutely. That's cohesive to something we do at Region 5 with our crisis counseling program. We have an AM morning where we kind of, you can talk about anything, get it out if you didn't get it out the previous evening, and then a PM meeting where we debrief. And then we give downtime. So we allow that time for if something happened, because when you're participating in active listening, and especially when you're passionate about this type of work, sometimes you take on that burden. And we want to make sure that our crisis counselors and our staff don't leave and take that burden home with them. So I like what you all are doing at Spindletop. Sounds similar to what we're doing, but again, you all have been doing this much longer, and you all have a broader scope of serving this specific population, which leads me to special populations. We've identified a few special populations throughout this program, but talk to me a little bit more about special populations, and perhaps give us a little bit of advice on how we could reach that veterans population.
The veterans population is interesting because I remember going to a facility in Port Arthur where there were 2 veterans, and I'd sent a counselor to go and talk with these veterans, and they would not talk to the counselor that I sent. And when she came back and told me that, I went over myself. And when I started to talk with them, they said, "I'm so glad you came, because it just feels more comforting for me to talk to another veteran." So one of the things with veterans, they have so much pride. Here it is, I've gone to the military, I put my life on the line for my country, and now you want me to come back home and raise the white flag. I'm not going to do it. So some of them would rather be homeless than to go into counsel. There's such a stigma with that. Yeah. And so as we have a veterans peer group that's over at Spelltop, we have a veterans diversion court that we work with through Judge Wortham. So some of the veterans have criminal offenses that they have. And so rather than incarcerate them and just forget about what they've done for our country, we go in and we talk with them. We can have group sessions, individual sessions for them, and we find out just what they need. And if they stay within our program for 6 months to a year, those charges that they had are dismissed. So they get a chance to go back into life without that burden on them.
That is awesome.
And along with that, there are some groups that's established, one in Fider, one in Beaumont, where there's peer groups where the veterans can go and talk to their own peers about some of the issues that they have. And then we meet as a board once a month. We have a meeting over at Spelltop, third Wednesday of each month at 12 o'clock. And we invite any veterans to come on and join us, because there is a big need for other veterans to get involved.
Yeah, we've identified them as a special population with our crisis counseling program. You're absolutely right. You have to speak their language in order to tap into what they're thinking, and you have to be very, very cautious and sensitive to what their needs are, because they've done a lot for this country. They have a broad perspective on some changes that perhaps need to be made, but they also need to be comfortable, as you said, in speaking openly about maybe what their unmet needs are. So that special population is something that, I want to say thank you, you and Spindletop, for being able to tap into and provide those services, because again, it is something that we've identified and something that we know we need to continue to work on and bridge that gap throughout Southeast Texas and surrounding counties. So thank you for being a part of that and standing in that gap. Again, your program and services, you have many of them. So I want you to tell our Facebook Live audience what is the best way for people to get in contact with you and to actually get more information about the programs and services that you offer at Spindletop.
One of the best ways is to go to the website, www.stcare, STCAR, and there it's STCARE, STCare. And there you can open up our website, our Facebook page. You'll see videos of some testimonies there. You get information, telephone numbers on the many services that we have within Spindletop. And that's just a real good way to find out a little bit more about what Spindletop has to offer and how to contact us.
And what criteria that they need to actually be involved or benefit from the programs and services.
Yes, and that is on that page, also on that website. And just remember to bring your ID, Social Security card, and something that has your address on it, so we'll know that you're from this area.
Awesome, awesome. And because of the work that you all are doing with Spindletop and have done for so many years, is there anything that you like to share with our audience? Like, what is that one thing that we here in Southeast Texas need to know to not only help us eradicate the stigma with counseling, but is there something that you'd like for us to, take away for our Facebook Live audience?
Well, one of the most important things I want to leave with you is that people have these, it's a disease. Substance abuse is a disease. If you ran into somebody with diabetes, you wouldn't just kick them to the curb. You'd try and help them. Substance abuse is a mental illness also. So one of the things people need is support. And some of the basic support they need is the support that comes from within that household. So as they connect with churches, with family, just realize the agape love needs to be in place, unconditional love. And then from that, you can get them in touch with the resources. And as a team, we can work together to help your loved one get stabilized. And get the help they need.
That's a perfect way to end this show. Again, Mr. Preston, Emmanuel Preston, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here and talk to our Facebook Live audience, share more with our audience about Spindletop. We thank you for your service, for the work that you're doing and continue to do. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together.
Welcome back, and thank you again for joining me, Teresa Davis, on Texans Recovering Together. Today, we had the opportunity to visit with local community agencies and nonprofits from your community. I want to say thank you to all of my special guests, Meredith Fletcher with Tool Bank, Michelle Tubbleville with Disaster Rebuild, Orange County Disaster Rebuild, and Emmanuel Preston with Spindletop. Facebook Live, I hope that you all were able to benefit and capture some of this valuable, important information, contact information to help you stay connected to resources that you need to help you to recover. Not only physically in response to Harvey regarding housing repairs, but also from an emotional and mental perspective. At Region 5, our crisis counseling program, we've identified a lot of unmet needs. And they've not only been housing repairs, but we understand that many of us also need people to talk to at times. Going through a traumatic event such as a natural disaster is nothing easy to take upon ourselves, especially when we have other members of our families to attend to and take care of. So making sure that you stay connected to outside resources that can help you maintain that stability or even regain a sense of normalcy is important for your well-being. So again, I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in. And again, we're going to be here right back here next Friday with more information to help you recover from natural disasters and be prepared and plan in advance. So again, thank you for joining me, Teresa Davis, on Texans Recovering Together.
We all remember the reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you? What have we all truly learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, where we discuss ways to connect the community to services and resources to help you recover. We are all Texans recovering together. We all remember the news reports. Hundreds of homes lost due to the havoc of Harvey Hurricane. How prepared are you now? What have we really learned from our experiences in 2017? Join us on September the 21st and every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 as we discuss ways to plan and prepare for hurricane season, where we also connect the community to resources and services to help you recover from disasters. We are all Texans recovering together. I've heard your stories. I've witnessed the hardships. We've all seen the aftermath of Harvey Hurricane. Are you prepared? Let's talk disaster preparedness and recovery. We are all Texans recovering together.